Good evening. Tonight we're going to be opening up jumbo packs of 1991-92 Fleer NBA basketball. All right, so tonight we're looking for Jordan, Dikembe Mutombo rookie, Pippen, Barkley, Malone, Stockton, Bird, Magic, all the stars of yesterday. All right, pack number one. We have 48 cards in this pack. All right. Let the festivities begin. All right, we have Doc Rivers, Tate George, Rodney Monroe, Reggie Miller. We'll put Reggie up on the stand. Terry Mills, Mark Macon, Fleer All-Star Hakeem Olajuwon. All right, we'll put Hakeem up top here. All right, Jack Haley, John Bagley, Greg Anderson, Kurt Rambis, Rony Saikali, Larry Stewart, Dave Wingate, Rich King, Pat Riley. All right, we'll put Pat up here. All right, Dana Barros, Doug Smith, Sam Mitchell, Donald Hodge, Maurice Cheeks. Ooh, Phil Jackson. Not bad. All right, Steve Smith, Dikembe Mutombo rookie. All right, we'll put Dikembe back here. First pack, Terry Nagel, John Morton, Jimmy Oliver, Larry Johnson. Oh, we got MJ. We got an MJ. All right. Mike Gminski, Victor Alexander, Billy Owens, Tree Rollins, Mark Geary, Matt Bullard, James Worthy, team leader. 91, and that's a nice looking card here. 91 NBA All-Star. All right. Let's put that here. Whoops. All right. Alvin Robertson, Stacey Augman, Rick Adelman, Sedale Treat, Ala Abernathy, Jerome Kersey, Winston Garland, Walter Davis, Sejoko Benarverick, Matt Gukos, and Rick Fox. All right. Not a bad start for the first pack. All right. Move Phil Jackson. Move Riley down. All right. Next pack. Kiki Vangui, Ricky Green, Joe Klein, Rex Hughes, Ken Williams. Two Ken Williams in the same pack. Danny Young, Andrew Lang, Mike Schuler, Andre Turner, Tyrone Corbin, Craig Hodges, Blair Remuson, Bobby Hansen, Anthony Mason, John Williams, Alton Lister, Mario Ellie, Carl Herrera, Bernard King, Winston Bennett, Herb Williams, John Sally, Lance Blanks, Eric Murdoch, 91 All-Star Game. Ooh, that's Jordan doing his thing. It's a great looking card. Lester Connor, Manute Bull, Dominique Wilkins, All-Star. Dominique down here. Sean Green, Checklist. Brian Williams. We got another Reggie Miller base card. Brad Daugherty, Dikembe Mutombo, team leader. Lionel Simmons, Mookie Blaylock. KJ. All right, Keith Owens, Chris Jackson, Pete Ciccole, Robert Pack, Tim Perry, Jeff Malone, Steve Henson, Luke Longley, Dennis Rodman, and Marty Connellan. All right, next pack. Randy Brewer, Sam Vincent, Brian Shaw, Mitch Redmond, Elton Campbell, Todd Murphy, Sidney Green, Vinnie Johnson, Chris Morris, Vincent Askew, Charles Smith, Alvin Robertson, Glenn Rice, team leader. Checklist. Jeff Turner, Chuck Pearson, Michael Jordan, team leader. All right, sorry, Hakeem. Always do that. All right, we're going to move Hakeem to the back. MJ goes front and center here. All right. Derek Harper, Clyde Drexler, team leader. Keith Askins, Kenny Payne, Bo Kimball, Paul Graham, Brad Davis, Kevin Brooks, Alan Ogg, 2 Alan Oggs. Frank Hamblin, Darrell Walker. Ooh, we got a Dikembe Mutombo limited edition Dominique Wilkins limited edition inserts. Keem Olajuwon, team leader. Patrick Ewing, team leader. Jim Rogers, Tony Campbell, Joe Dumars, Gerald Glass, Jim Lyman, Stanley Roberts, Blair Remuson, Chris Mullins was sporting that 1980s flat top. Antoine Carr, Alan Bristow, KJ, Greg Sutton, Brian Quintet. All right, Larry Legend, Larry Bird, Fred Roberts. All right. All right. Let me clear some room here. All right, our next pack. Dominique Wilkins, team leader. Rex Chapman, Xavier McDaniel, Cliff Robinson, Tim McCormick, Alex Kessler, Tim Hardaway, All-Star, Cedric Sabalos, Loy Vaults, Barkley, one of my all-time favorites. Let's put another stand up here. 2 Barkleys in the same pack. Chuck Pearson, Scott Skiles, Jerry Sloan, Derek Coleman, Chris Mullen, team leader. Thurl Bailey. Deadlift Shrimp. Doug West. Wes Unseld. Steve Kerr. Is that a... No. Orlando Woolridge. Danny Manning. Moses Malone. Mike Brown. Jeff Grayer. Charles Smith. Dale Davis. Scott Brooks. Stockton. David Robinson. Dwayne Cassell. Spud Webb. Anthony Boner. Glenn Rice. Michael Adams. John Starks. Greg Anthony. Tony Smith. John Battle. 2 John Battles in the same pack. Gerard Mustaf. James Edwards. Checklist. Terrell Brendan. Charles Thomas. All right. Oh, second time I've knocked Jordan over. All right. Eddie Johnson. Henry James. William Bedford. Danny Ferry. That was a good card to get back in the day. Doc Rivers. Tate George. Rodney Monroe. Mitch Redmond. Terry Mills. Mark Macon. Michael Adams, Ricky Pierce, LaSalle Thompson, Kurt Rambis, James Worthy, Larry Stewart, Dave Wingate, King, Spud Webb, John Turner, 91 All-Star Game. All right, that looks like it's KJ on the card. And Magic. All right. Charles Shackelford, Jason Williams, Maurice Cheeks, Will Perdue, Steve Smith. Another Dikembe Mutombo rookie. All right. Tom Tolbert, John Morris, Tom Hammonds, Nate McMillan, Ramil Robinson, Michael Cage, Fat Lever. All right, it's 91 All-Star Game highlight. It looks like that is Alvin Robertson, Joe Dumars, Delaney Rudd, Ron Ellis, Benoit Benjamin, Kenny Anderson, Alexander Volkov, Stacey Augmond, Derek McKee, Sadell Treaty, Alan Aberney, Kenny Smith, Winston Garland. All right. James Edwards. I'm just going to kind of go through these a little bit quicker. Greg Anderson, Rex Chapman, Green, Joe Klein, Rex Hughes, Ken Williams again, Dana Barros, Doug Smith, Vernell Coles, Donald Hodge, Tyrone Corbin, Craig Hodges, Rory Sparrow, Bobby Hansen, Anthony Mason, Derek Harper, Jimmy Oliver, Grandma Ma, Larry Johnson, Jerome Richardson, Mike Kaminsky, Winston Bennett, Vernon Maxwell, John Sally, Lance Blanks, Eric Murdoch, John Paxson, Scott Williams, Eagle Knight, Stacey King, Dave Benoit, James Donaldson, Victor Alexander, Billy Owens, Tree Rollins, Walter Davis, Felton Spencer, Rick Fox, Keith Owens, Ricky Pierce, Tim Perry, Robert Pack, Theodore Edwards. All right. Johnny Newman, Cedric Ceballos, we vote Kendall Gill. That was a good one to get back in the day. Henry James, William Bedford, Bill Lambier, Doc Rivers, Tate George, Chris Mullins, Earl Bailey, Doug West, Michael Adams, Ricky Pierce, Mark West, Kurt Rambis, Jim Les, Mike Brown, Jeff Grayer, Antoine Carr, Dale Davis, John Turner, Mark Jackson, Charles Shackelford, Jason Williams, Maurice Cheeks, Larry Brown, Tony Campbell, Joe Dumars, Gerald Glass, Rick Smits, Scott Brooks, Stockton, Robinson, David Robinson, Xavier McDaniel, James Edwards, Larry Smith, Terrell Brandon, Charles Thomas, LaRon Ellis, Gene Littles, Kenny Anderson, Alexander Volkov, Stacy Augman, Rod Strickland. Put Rod over here. Always liked Rod back in the day. All right. All right, that looks like that might be the mailman. Nope, Ricky Pierce. All right, Sidney Green, Vinny Johnson, Darnell Valentine, Dominic Wilkins, Rex Chapman, Xavier McDaniel, Gary Payton, Tim McCormick, Alex Kessler, Kendall Gill. Get another team leader, Michael Jordan. Derek Harper, Clyde the Glide, another Barkley. Two more Barkleys. Chuck Pearson, Scott Skiles, Willie Anderson, Derek Coleman, Alan Ogg, ×2. Frank Hamblin, Darrell Walker, Danny Ainge, Kenny Gaddison, Steve Kerr, Orlando Woolridge, Paul Westhead, Moses Malone, Brad Daughtery, Dikembe Mutombo, team leader, Lionel Simmons, Doc Brown, Kevin Johnson, Hakeem Olajuwon, team leader, Patrick Ewing, team leader, Terry Cummings, Greg Sutton, Brian Quintet, Larry Bird, team leader, Brian Oliver, John Starks, Greg Anthony, Tony Smith, John Battle, Gerard Mustaf. All right. and overboard here. Danny Young, Andrew Lang, Nick Anderson, Andre Turner, Randy Brewer, Sam Vincent, Don Nelson, Mitch Redmond, Eldon Campbell, Alton Lister, Mario Ellie, Carl Herrera, Joe Wolf, Vincent Askew, Charles Smith, Sherman Douglas, Glenn Rice, Checklist, Jeff Turner, Lester Connor, Manute Bull, Byron Scott, Sean Green, Keith Askins, Kenny Payne, Gerald Wilkins, Paul Graham, Brad Davis, Kevin Brooks, Reggie Williams, Matt Bullard, James Worthy, Tyrone Corbin, Alvin Robertson, Checklist, Brian Williams, Orlando Woolridge, Steve Henson, Luke Longley, Tyrone Hill, Marty Conlon, Stanley Roberts, Blair Rasmussen, Maurice Cheeks, Antoine Carr, Alan Bristow, and Purvis Ellison. All right, we got the top row of the box finished. Got about 9 packs left in the bottom row here. Go ahead and pull those out. All right, so here we go. Vinnie Johnson, Dominique Wilkins, Rex Chapman, team leader, Rex Chapman, base card, Xavier McDaniel, Tim McCormick, Alex Kessler, Dominique Wilkins, limited edition inserts, Clyde Drexler, team leader, Vernon Coles, Charles Barkley, team leader, Chuck Pearson, Scott Skiles, Rory Sparrow, Derek Coleman, Chris Mullen, team leader, Derek Harper, Daryl Bailey, Daryl Walker, Jerome Richardson, Kenny Gaddison, Steve Kerr, Vernon Maxwell, seen this movie before, Orlando Woolridge, Moses Malone, Mike Brown, John Paxson, Jeff Grayer, Billy Owens, Tree Rollins, Matt Bullard, Dwayne Coswell, James Worthy, Alvin Robertson, Harvey Grant, Checklist, John Starks, Felton Spencer, Greg Anthony, Tony Smith, Ricky Pierce, John Battle, Gerard Mustaf, James Edwards, Theodore Edwards, Terrell Brendan. All right. Cedric Sabalos, Loy Volt, Nick Anderson, Henry James, William Bedford, Doc Rivers, Don Nelson, Tate George, Rodney Monroe, Terry Mills, Doug West, Michael Adams, Joe Wolf, Ricky Pierce, Sherman Douglas, Kurt Rambis, Larry Stewart, Dave Wingate, Kendall Gill, Dale Davis, Byron Scott, John Turner, Charles Shackelford, Jason Williams, Gerald Williams, Maurice Cheeks, Steve Smith. Another Dikembe Mutombo rookie. That's our third one we've pulled. John Morton, Blair Williams, Brad Daughtery, Ramil Robertson, Dikembe Mutombo team leader, Lionel Simmons, Kevin Johnson, team leader, Hakeem Olajuwon, team leader, Charles Thomas, Tyrone Hill, LaRon Ellis, Kenny Anderson, Alexander Volkov, Maurice Cheeks, Stacey Augman, Sadell Treat, Purvis Ellison, Alba Alberday. All right. Doc Rivers, Brian Shaw, Tate George, Rodney Monroe, Terry Mills, Todd Murphy, Mark Macon, Jack Haley, Chris Morris, John Bagley. All-Star Game. That one looks like it is Kevin McHale and Clyde Drexler. All right. Glenn Rice. Checklist. Jeff Turner, Sam Brown. Another Michael Jordan All-Star. Derek Harper, Clyde Drexler. Another Charles Barkley. Dominique Wilkins. Ron Harper, Paul Graham, Brad Davis, Kevin Brooks, Alan Ogg. Dikembe Mutombo insert, limited edition. Alan Ogg. James Oliver. Larry Johnson. Wes Unseld, Otis Thorpe, Victor Alexander, Billy Owens, Tree Rollins. First, Karl Malone, All-Star Team. Matt Bullard, James Worthy, Buck Williams. Tim Hardaway, nice. Antoine Carr, Alan Bristow. Patrick Ewing, All-Star. Greg Sutton, Brian Quintet, Larry Bird, All-Star. Jack Schema, John Starks, and Greg Anthony. All right. You get a stand here for Larry Legend. You Celtics fans there. All right. Still no Magic yet. Be nice if we got a Magic as well to round out our night here. Joe Klein, Rex Hughes, Ken Williams. Dikembe Mutombo, limited edition. Ken Williams. Cedric Ceballos, Loy Volt. Mike Schuler. Whoops, somebody under him? No. Henry James, William Bedford. J.R. Reed. Bobby Hansen, Anthony Mason, Kenny Smith. Alton Lister, Mario Ellie, Carlos Herrera. Rolando Blackman, Vincent Askew, Charles Smith, John Sally. Lance Blanks, Eric Murdoch, Eric Lloyd, Lester Connor, Manute Bull, Charles Barkley, All-Star Team, Sean Green, Keith Askins, Kenny Payne, Fat Lever, Kevin Edwards, Joe Dumars, Delaney Rudd, Scott Williams, Dominique Wilkins base card. Here we go. Stacey King, Dave Benoit, Robert Pack, Tim Perry, Buck Williams, Steve Henson, Luke Longley, Olden Polynice, Martin Connellan, Stanley Roberts, Blair Remuson. All right. Five packs left. Rodney Monroe, Brad Daugherty, Terry Mills, Mark Macon, Michael Jordan All-Star. All right, we'll put Michael right there. Jack Haley, John Bagley, Greg Anderson, Jay Humphreys, Ricky Green, Larry Stewart, Dave Wingate, Rich King, Richie Abudado, Dana Barros, Doug Smith, Larry Nance, Donald Hodge, Tyrone Corbin, Craig Hodges, Steve Smith. Another Dikembe Mutombo. That's our fourth Dikembe Mutombo rookie. Rodney McRae, John Morton, Jimmy Oliver, Larry Johnson, Robert Parrish, Mike Gaminsky, Winston Bennett, Randy White, Spud Webb, Anthony Bonner, Harvey Grant, Michael Adams, Tom Hammonds, Nate McMillan, Del Harris, Michael Cage, Sedell Threat, Ala Alberde, Charles Barkley, base. All right, we're going to cover up our all-star ones there, just for the time being. Winston Garland, Walter Davis, Chuck Daly, Rick Fox, Keith Owens, Vinnie Johnson. All right. Final 4 packs. All right. Mark Macon, Jack Haley, Darnell Valentine, John Bagley, Greg Anderson, Ricky Green, Gary Payton, Joe Klein, Rex Hughes, Rich King, Dana Barros, Doug Smith, Donald Hodge, ×2, Dikembe Mutombo, limited edition, John Morton, Dominique Wilkins, limited edition, Jimmy Oliver, Larry Johnson, Danny Ainge, Mike Kaminsky, Winston Bennett, John Sally, Paul Westhead, Lance Blanks, Patrick Ewing, Lionel Simmons, Tony Campbell, Joe Dumars, James Donaldson, Gerald Glass, Scott Brooks, John Stockton, Winston Garland, Walter Davis, Blair Oliver, Rick Fox, Keith Owens. That's 2. Another Mutombo. Robert Peck. All right. Tim McCormick, Alex Kessler, Cedric Ceballos, Lloyd Vault, Checklist, Henry James, William Bedford, Doc Rivers, J.R. Reed, Derek Coleman, Chris Mullins, Kenny Smith, Darrell Bailey, Doug West, Michael Adams, Londo Blackman, Ricky Pierce, Moses Malone, Mike Brown, Eric Ford, Charles Barkley All-Star, John Turner, Cummings, Stacey King, Dave Benoit, Victor Alexander, Chris Ford, Billy Owens, Tree Rollins, Matt Bullard, John Battle, Gerard Mustaf, James Edwards, Buck Williams, Terrell Brandon, Charles Thomas, Odin Polynice, Ron Ellis, Kenny Anderson, and Alexander Volkov. Redman, Brad Daugherty, Eldon Campbell, Sidney Green, Michael Jordan All-Star, Vinnie Johnson, Dominique Wilkins, Rex Chapman, Jay Humphreys, Xavier McDaniel, Checklist, Jeff Turner, Michael Jordan. There's 2 Jordans in the same pack. Derek Harper, Clyde Drexler, Larry Nance, Barkley, Chuck Pearson, Scott Skiles, Brad Davis, Kevin Brooks, Rodney McRae, Alan Ogg, Frank Hamlin, Darrell Walker, Robert Parrish, Kenny Gaddison, Steve Kerr, Randy White, Nate McMillan, Michael Cage, Fat Lever, that's an awesome name, Terry Davis, ×2, Dominique Wilkins, limited edition, Delaney Rudd, Scott Williams, Alan Bristow, Greg Sutton, another Barkley, sweet. Brian Quintet, another Larry Bird, sweet. John Starks, Chuck Daly, Greg Anthony, Tony Smith, and Vinnie Johnson. All right. Come to that time of the evening here. Little final pack. Let's get some last pack magic here in these last 48 cards. Kind of surprised we haven't seen a Scottie Pippen yet. Johnny Newman, Ken Williams, Danny Young, Andrew Lang, Kendall Gill, Andre Turner, Randy Brewer, Bill Lambier, Sam Vincent, Larry Quistawalk, Anthony Mason, Alan Lister, Dick Motta, Mario Ellie, Carlos Herrera, Vincent Askew, Mark West, Charles Smith, Glenn Rice, Jim Less, Eric Murdoch, Lester Connor, Antoine Carr, Manute Bull, Sean Green, Mark Jackson, Keith Askins, Kenny Payne, Paul Graham, Larry Brown, Reggie Williams, David Robinson, Spud Webb, Willie Burton, Andrew Bonner, Michael Adams, Tom Hammonds, Orlando Woolridge, Tim Perry, Larry Smith, Steve Henson, Luke Longley, Marty Connellan, Greg Little, Stanley Roberts, Blair Remuson, Antoine Carr, and finally, Rod Strickland. All right, well, I'd say we did pretty good for ourselves for this the 91-92 Fleer Cello Jumbo Pack box. A lot of great cards, a lot of great hits here. All right, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching.